Okay, it being 5 p.m., the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of October 22nd, 2024 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, can you please conduct roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Broomfield. Mr. Adams. Mr. Perk. Here. Mr. Melvin. Here. Mr. Rodriguez. Here. Mr. Arabi. Here. Chairman Oten.
Here.
Mrs. Chasson. Here. Mr. Lorraine. Here. And President Chasson.
I'm here, ma'am.
We have a full house. Very good. Thank you, Ms. Carleen. If everyone would please rise, we'll be led in the invocation by Councilman Roderick, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Perk.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we thank you for those with us and that you would guide our thoughts and actions to bring you glory. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. I'd like to start off by asking everyone to please silence and/or turn off your phone out of respect for the others. Additionally, I'd like to mention that there are blue forms at the entrance. If you are interested in addressing the council, please fill one out, get up to the council clerk, and we'll be sure to recognize you during public wishing to address the council. Additionally, just to go over the agenda on ordinances, we'll ask for public input on each ordinance before we bring it to discussion of the council and vote, as opposed to resolutions where it'll be just simply discussed by the council before it comes to vote. So if you have something you're interested in on a resolution, please bring it up during public wishing to address the council at that point in the agenda. With that said, we'll jump right into tonight's agenda. Item A, approval of minutes. I'll now entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the October 8, 2024 regular session. So moved by Councilman Adams, second by Councilman Melvin. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes by a vote of 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item B, do we have any state and or federal legislators in the audience? No, okay, yeah, you in a minute. We got you. Item C, we don't have any, Miss.
Yes,
we have no proclamations tonight.
Yes, sir.
Which brings us to item E, presentations and or updates. Item 2, Louisiana Office of Broadband Development and Connectivity to present broadband projects through the state's Gumbo program.
Well, good evening. My name is Vineeth Iyengar, and I'm the Executive Director for Connect LA. We're the Louisiana State Office of Broadband Development and Connectivity, but we'll call it Connect LA for short. Our office was created legislatively back in 2020 as a response to the pandemic, and so we had 2 legislators, one from Washington Parish, Beth Mizell, and a state rep, create the Office of Broadband back in 2020 as a response to the big and challenging needs that exist throughout the state of Louisiana when it comes to all things broadband, all things digital divide. And so we've been spending the last 4 years really aggressively trying to eliminate the digital divide. And folks, I'll tell you, the digital divide, it's impacting, and most people may not know it because they're really focused on their parish, their community, but the digital divide is impacting 1.7 million Louisianians. And when we think about the digital divide that exists in Louisiana, there's a bunch of folks, even in Lafourche Parish, that still does not have access to internet because it's a fundamental infrastructure problem. And so I think the common complaint that we hear in our office, that all of you probably hear, is the fact that the fiber optics are along the main road. I may live 500 feet off the main road. I called the internet service provider and they say, I'm happy to provide internet, but it's gonna cost an arm and a leg. And the resident will say, well, look, I may be a veteran, maybe having a fixed income, I can't afford the installation fee. So that's a big problem that's affecting a lot of people throughout the state of Louisiana is infrastructure. A bunch of people in Louisiana still, even with the infrastructure there, still can't afford it. So it's an affordability problem, it's an infrastructure problem, it's a digital skills problem. Nearly 500,000 Louisianians between 18 and 65 do not understand how to turn on a computer nor use it. So that is really affecting the labor force participation rate as in the state, where we've got the lowest labor force participation rate. And then the last is devices. A lot of people don't have a fundamental device to affecting the broadband challenge. Now, affordability, access, device infrastructure, big problems affecting 1.7 million Louisianians. But I'll tell you, the challenge for us is not the federal funds that we receive, both from the U.S. Treasury and from the Infrastructure Bill and Jobs Act. We have more than enough money to solve the problem for the 140,000 plus locations that in Louisiana that don't have internet. So let me start to focus then on Lafourche itself. Last year, a couple of years ago, we granted a small project to REV to actually build in Lafourche Crossing. I'm sure you guys, some of you may have been at the event I think it was last August. And so we funded REV to build to, I think, 80 plus locations, Lafourche Crossing. Project's complete, on time, within budget. So that for us is the poster child of a successful project, right? Now, in Lafourche Parish, the 80 people that are now receiving, or 80 households that are receiving internet, is not the size of the challenge that still exists in Lafourche Parish. And so we still have close to 1,000 households and small businesses in Lafourche all throughout the parish that do not have internet today. And so we're using the Gumbo 2.0 dollars, which is the federal funds that we receive from the infrastructure bill, to impact that population. On August 19th, a couple of months ago, the governor launched the grant program for the Gumbo 2.0 program. And so we've spent the last couple of months going through a pretty aggressive bidding schedule with some of the companies, the internet service providers. And so we're happy to share that based on the results of the Gumbo 2.0 program that's impacting nearly 1,000 locations, that all of the locations in Lafourche will be covered through the infrastructure bill money. So that'll be a big sigh of relief for all of you and for, frankly, all of us, that 1,000 more households and small businesses all throughout the parish will receive access to internet. We're probably weeks away from releasing the actual results in terms of who the provider is for those 1,000 locations. But with those 1,000 locations, plus the funds that we've obligated to REV to build in the Gumbo 1.0 program, from our perspective, we could check off the box in Lafourche Parish that the digital divide, at least on the infrastructure side, will effectively be eliminated and closed within the next 12 to 18 months upon the award of the provider for these 1,000 locations. What's next is, and this is really important, I think, Parish President, I think we've talked about this, the challenge and problem statement that we're going to face is the following. The governor, and rightfully so, has effectively made it a requirement that all the infrastructure built to the 1,000 houses and small businesses be built underground. And so that 95% of the fiber plant build is to be built underground, which means what? If you're building the infrastructure underground at the speed at which this construction is happening, unfortunately, you might run into situations that water mains get broken, sewer lines get broken, gas lines, God forbid, get interrupted, right, in terms of potential breakage of gas lines. So it's a problem that's significantly bubbling up in areas throughout the state of Louisiana because, frankly, no one knows where any of this infrastructure is. I mean, it's not just a Louisiana problem, it's a countrywide problem. So the governor has taken it upon himself in challenging us and saying, look, we need a map to effectively map. We need something that's going to effectively map out all of the infrastructure that exists underground. That's critically important for first responders. That's critically important during times of disaster. And so we're going to be in the process quickly of mapping out where all of the infrastructure is, which means we're going to have to lean on all of you, your GIS staff, to really understand where these utilities are. The idea is that our office over the next 12, 18 months, because it is going to be a pretty complex task in understanding where all this infrastructure is. Once we gather the information, we'll partner with LADUTD and GOSEP to manage and update these maps on an annual basis. So that's going to be a challenge that, if not faced already, will be coming up as part of our efforts to deploy broadband as rapidly as possible. We'll work through it. And so at this point, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? You explained it very well, apparently. Thank you for the presentation. It's much appreciated. And now LSU Ag, Ms. Becky, you have the mic, ma'am.
Becky Gautreaux, 410 Lee Drive, Thibodaux. In front of you is a calendar the vegetable planning guide, and also our quarterly report for the last quarter, which covers July, August, and September. We are down 2 agents, but our A&R and forage agent, so like livestock and forage, I have been covering some of those duties, and we partnered with the Department of Ag and Forestry, and they came to Lafourche Parish and microchipped horse saddles, because some horse saddles get stolen and they don't know how to identify them, and they're pretty pricey. So now we have 40 horse saddles in the parish that are microchipped. We also did a brucellosis event for heifers that had to be a certain age, and so that was to vaccinate those heifers. We did it at Zero Brahman Ranch, and so it was a good event. We had 15 heifers that were vaccinated. Other heifers across the parish, they did it on their own. They called the large vet, and she went out and vaccinated. For fisheries, Haley has been doing an amazing work and has been speaking at national conferences. She went to Hawaii to go talk at their national conference, and so she has been partnering with the Wildlife and Fisheries Commission and doing fantastic things. I have been doing demos at the Rouse's markets across the parishes. LSU Ag Center and Rouse's partnered up. Rouse's donates the groceries, and I go, along with other coworkers across the state, go once a month and do healthy food demos at the Rouse's. Over the summer, we made bread at the Cutoff Youth Center and at the Lloyd Wallace Youth Center. And so it was a whole bread in a bag, and the kids got to hands-on make their own bread and take them home. 4-H has kicked off. Yes, we took so many children, 95 kids to camp this past year, and we're in all public and private schools in the parish, as well as the VOW charters all across the parish, and then we also have a member-at-large group that meets at our office for those homeschool kids. So we're in every single school, still doing 4-H club meetings every single month. So yeah, you guys have all that great information. And if you have any questions, I will take them.
Anyone have any questions? That's a lot of information right here. Much appreciated. Thank you,
We're
Becky.
doing great, thank you.
Is that it on presentations? We have one other one scheduled in, from the Commission on Women, who had asked to be here tonight, but they're not here, so we'll move right along into the rest of our agenda. Brings us to item F, engineers and/or architect reports.
Joe Piciolo at Piciolo and Associates, 115 Piciolo Parkway in Cutoff. Our first project is the Galliano Airport Connector Road and Bridge project. So Sea-Level Construction's been working on this project. They're currently working on lift span fabrication along Bayou Lafourche, putting it together. They also off-site fabrication and the machinery. They've been working on asphalt roadway construction periodically on 308, LA1, and the connector road itself. And they're continuing to work on the build out of the control house. Their schedule has slipped. We're expected completion date now is June of 2025. And that's primarily predicated on receival of the machinery. The machinery for the bridge itself has been delayed and is causing delays in the project. The next project we have is the Hurricane Ida storm damage repairs to the pump stations. Rita Pump Station project includes 2 new 30-inch pumps, diesel engines, sump, trash screens. We've completed all the site surveying, soil borings, and we have all the permittings for the project. We are working to finalize project plans with the administration in preparation for the bids. For Sugar Ridge Pump Station, this project includes 2 new 30-inch pumps with diesel engines, sump, and trash racks. We went out for bids. We obtained bids on September the 19th. Lowland Construction was a low bidder in the amount of $3,224,791. We held a pre-construction meeting last week. They're currently purchasing material, but they're going to expect to be on site in around December the 2nd, so first part of December. And it'll take approximately 6 months to complete that project. The next project we have is, that's not the right one. This is the road priority project for parish-wide. So we've kind of done an inventory of the parish streets and come up with some budgetary numbers. We've submitted some information to the administration, and we're going to review that with them in hopes to get out a project sometime next year. The La Rose boat launch project, so this includes a new boat ramp, wharves, riprap along the intercoastal, and basically spiffing up the parking lot. So we've completed all the site surveying and the drawings. We've done geotechnical work, and we've applied for the permit. We have all the permits except for the Army Corps of Engineers. They asked for some more engineering work because of its proximity to the intercoastal and the flood wall that the South Lafourche Levee District has. So about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, we submitted them additional engineering calculations, and they're reviewing that right now. The next project is Cote Blanche Bridge rehabilitation. So this is in repairs to the approaches, bridge deck, and we're going to also dry dock the bridge pontoon and potentially upgrade the winching system depending on the budget and estimates we come up with. We are working on project plans now, and we'll go over budgeting with the administration prior to going out for bids. And the next project we have is Choctaw Levee project. So this is restoring part of a levee to its original condition and flood protection in accordance with permits agreed to with the state and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We have all the permits in place, and the mitigation is paid for. Field surveying is complete, and we're working on project plans now in preparation for bids sometime next year. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor first. Let's see. Hold on, Daniel. Let me see. It's not pulling up. There we go. It's right there. It was on a different screen.
Okay, you got it.
You got it.
There was some talk that the airport corridor bridge would be ready in January. Now it's June. So my question is, the contractor, is he going to pass the deadline that it should have been ready for?
The contract deadline was September the 19th, so it's passed already.
Or it already passed?
Yes.
So is he going to be fined or not? No.
There are damages in the project, and
Can't be much rain.
the port is discussing that with the contractor presently.
I know I think might be that first bridge. They're doing a hell of a job. It's just probably taking longer than what they anticipated. I was just concerned because it's starting to sound like the Golden Meadow Bridge, you know. Every month it's next month, it's next month, it's next month, it's next month. And Golden Meadow Bridge is 2 years in November.
Well, the big thing to hold up on this project has always been the machinery. The machinery is being manufactured in Franklinton, Louisiana. The contractor's doing a good job at fabricating the machinery, but it's just slow. He hasn't met any of his scheduled promises, and again, if he's supposed to deliver the machinery sometime in early December. If that date slips, then you're going to see the date on the overall construction of the project slip also.
So
it's definitely all predicated on receiving that machinery.
So was there some time delay on ordering parts that didn't come in like it should have? I mean, I'm just asking. I don't want to put you on the spot, man.
I just think that, he's doing a good job, but I think he kind of took on a bigger project than maybe he should have. But
Okay, switching gears. Cote Blanche, when they're gonna tackle that? South Lafourche has been holding up pretty good, just like Galiana by a thread.
right, so we're finalizing plans now. We're going to get with Dylan and discuss budgets. And, there's a big, long wish list about things to be done. But I know the parish has only so much budget, so we'll we'll figure out exactly what we're gonna do, and we'll go out for bids, probably sometime
But-
early next year.
It should have some funds left in road sales tax too, the old one. Should. I'll trace it down. That's it.
Thank you, Daniel. Anyone have any questions? Very good, thank you, Jim.
Thank y'all.
Any other engineers and architect reports? None? All right, brings us to item G, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, et cetera. Ms. Carleen, you have none? That brings us to item H, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. I now entertain a motion to open public hearing. So moved by Mr. Perk, second by Mr. Arabi. All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 3, ordinance to install no 18-wheeler signs at the entrance of Highway 3235, turning onto West 163rd Street on each side, north side and south side of West 163rd Street, Galliana, Louisiana, Ward 10, District 9, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, requiring the placement of no 18-wheeler signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Councilor Moraine, second by Mr. Arabi. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 3? Second call, public input at item 3. Last and final call. Anyone from the public want to comment on this ordinance? Anyone from the council? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 4, ordinance establishing unmuffled compression brakes prohibited signs on Highway 308 in La Rose, with one sign being placed on the southbound shoulder of Highway 308, approximately 48 foot north of the intersection of Highway 308 and La Village Drive. One sign being placed on the northbound shoulder of Highway 308, approximately 494 feet south of the intersection of Highway 308 and Edward Road. One sign being placed on the southbound shoulder of Highway 308, approximately 364 foot north of the intersection of Highway 308 and East 7th Street. One sign being placed on the northbound shoulder of Highway 308, approximately 468 feet east of the intersection of Highway 308 and East Main Street. And authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said application and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chestnut for the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 4? Second call, public input, ordinance at number 4. Last and final call. Anyone from the public wants to comment on this ordinance? Anyone from the council? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 5, ordinance declaring property as surplus belonging to Lafourche Parish government, authorizing the disposal of surplus property, authorizing the advertising of surplus items for sale, authorizing the acceptance of the highest qualified bidders, and any remaining items that are deemed to have no value will be properly discarded, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Ms. Chestnut for the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 5? Second call, public input on the ordinance at number 5. Last and final call, anyone from the public wants to comment on the ordinance at number 5? Anyone from the council? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 6, ordinance granting a variance from the Lafourche Parish subdivision regulations from the 70 feet width lot frontage, reducing to 60 feet width lot frontage to Cane Ridge Phase 3 as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their September 25th, 2024 meeting. Moved by Mr. Perk for the administration, second by Mr. Roderick. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the ordinance at number 6? Second call, public input, ordinance at number 6. Last and final call. Anyone from the public wants to comment on the ordinance at number 6? Anyone from the council? Mr. Chestnut, you have the floor first, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you guys know, this was recommended by the Planning Commission. When we changed the subdivision regulation several months ago, or I guess maybe a year ago now, and moved from that 60 to 70-foot lot frontage, we did our best for no one to get captured within a phase of their development that would have gotten restricted. So kind of fast forward, we did our best to do that. Unfortunately, Mr. Duplantis and his subdivision kind of did get caught in that. There were a couple of tweaks that forced him to go back to the Planning Commission. So his subdivision was always designed to be those 60-foot lots throughout. So for us, it made sense to grant him a variance through the Planning Commission and to come to you guys to let him keep that 60-foot frontage throughout, knowing that anything developed past that would have to meet the new regulations. So we'd appreciate your support on this.
So essentially it was grandfathered in, they kind of changed after the fact. Okay. Mr. Perk, you have the floor second, sir.
Yeah, and I just wanted to elaborate a little bit further on President Chasson's comments, and that nothing, he really just changed the format. It's still the same amount of lots, 51 from the prior, 51 to the new request. And in actuality, his constituents, the constituents and neighbors up in that area favor his newer plot or suggestion versus the old. So it was I thought it was a win-win for everybody. So, and like I said, the Planning Commission approved it, so I think it's a good move for us.
Thank you, Mr. Perk. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just think that in some cases, every case should be case by case and looked at, because not every case is the same. And they go according to what the council passes, but sometimes it's just, that's what you got a variance for. So you can go ahead and, I don't like to overrule them, but of course they approved it, but there's no problem with it. It's just, my book, listening to everybody up here, all the years I've been here, should be case by case.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Any further discussion? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. I now entertain a motion to close public hearing. So moved by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Melvin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item I, proposed ordinances. Mr. Melvin, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proposed ordinances, number 7, proposed ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2024 on all property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Fire Protection District number 7. Would somebody move them for me, please? Thank you, Mr. Tebow, William Adams. Number 8, proposed ordinance approving NOLA Title Group LLC and SRI Services Incorporated to publicly advertise and auction adjudicated property located at East 67th Street, Cutoff, Louisiana 70345, assessment number 81023699090, with a minimum starting bid of $5,680.49, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Number 9, proposed ordinance declaring property as surplus belonging to Lafourche Parish government, authorizing disposal of surplus property, authorizing and advertising of surplus items for sale, authorizing the parish acceptance of the highest qualified bidders, and any remaining items that are deemed to have no value will be properly discarded, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chasson for the administration. Number 10, proposed ordinance to adopt the 2025 operations and maintenance and capital budget for Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting the salaries of unclassified employees as provided by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Otan for the administration. And that does it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Item J, scheduled budget public hearings and enactment of the 2025 budget ordinance. Item 11, schedule the first budget public hearing. I'll now entertain a motion to schedule the first budget public hearing on November 12th, 2024 at 5 p.m. So moved by Mr. Adams, seconded by Mr. Brumfield. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 12, schedule the second budget public hearing. I'll now entertain a motion to schedule the second budget public hearing on November 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. So moved by Mr. Perk, seconded by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passed 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 13, schedule enactment of the 2025 budget ordinance. I'll now entertain a motion to schedule the enactment of the 2025 budget ordinance on November 26, 2024. So moved by Mr. Brumfield, seconded by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. We good, Ms. Carleen?
Yes, sir.
All right, item K, resolutions. Number 14, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Norris and Boudreaux Contractors, LLC, for the project titled Lafourche Parish Street Maintenance, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any other relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Adams for the administration, second by Mr. Brumfield. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor first, sir.
Yes, first of all, I want to say that this company does a real good job. Of all the projects that I've seen them do, it's a good job. And I think this was done with this administration to get things done a lot quicker. But in my book, it's not going that way. If you number 10 on the list, If you get them once a year, you're lucky. I just think that all the local contractors, mom and pops, we did away with them. And I think that needs to be revisited. Listen, I'll give them an A on this work. Fantastic. But it takes way too long than all these other contractors that are out there looking for work. That's just my opinion. Vote your conscience.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Any further discussion? There being none, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Raise your hand, nays. Just one nay. Mr. Lorraine. Motion passes 8 yeas, 1 nay, that nay being Mr. Lorraine. Item 15, resolution approving change order number 1 for the project titled Lafourche Parish Recreation District number 4, Heroes Park Hurricane Ida Replacements and Repairs, increasing the contract price by $4,393 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Brumfield, administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 16, resolution accepting the 2024 Emergency Management Performance Grant, EMPG, from the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness in the amount of $54,965.65 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 17, resolution approving an agreement between the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness and Lafourche Parish Government for a grant under the 2022 Flood Mitigation Assistance Grant Program for the project titled LP 2022 Elevation Project and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Araby for the administration, second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 18, resolution approving change order number 4 for the project titled Recreation District number 2, Milton P. Araby, Raceland Community Park Hurricane Ida Replacements and Repairs, increasing the contract price by $2,410.10 and adding 2 additional days to the contract time and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Araby for the administration, second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 19, resolution accepting the low bid of Freetown Builders LLC in the amount of $2,793,000 for the project titled Hurricane Ida Repairs, Deferred Block Building Phase 2, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk for the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 20, resolution approving an agreement between the Division of Administration and Lafourche Parish Government for the fiscal year 2023-2024 Local Government Assistance Program, LGAP, to renovate and repair Lafourche Parish Government buildings located in Thibodeau and Matthews, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Mr. Perk for the administration, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 21, resolution approving amendment number 3 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and All South Consulting Engineers, LLC, for the Bayou Lafourche Multi-Use Path Lafourche Parish Government Center Trailhead Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Mr. Araby for the administration, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 22, resolution approving amendment number 4 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and All South Consulting Engineers, LLC, for the project titled the Alley Door Drainage Improvements, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Mr. Araby for the administration, second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 23, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with Hunt, Guyot, and Associates, LLC, to provide Hurricane Ida Program Management Assistance for Stafford Act Public Assistance Programs, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Mr. Perk will move on behalf of the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 24, resolution appointing one member to the Library Board of Control. Mr. Perk for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Perk?
We have one vacancy, 3 applications. Recommend Teddy Collins, Jr.
Can I have a second on Mr. Collins? Second by Mr. Adams. Discussion. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that I checked into this board, and I'll tell you, it's a parish-wide board, but the one that resigned was from my district. And I don't appreciate somebody else coming in. It's not written in stone that it has to be me, but through courtesy, it should be the councilman in that area, okay? And I researched the library board. You got 7-member board, 4 from Thibodeau, 4. So they got the board stacked. That's what they got. Then I had 2, but I really take this at heart. I'm not going to vote against Mr. Collins. I have no idea who he is. He probably lives in my district. But I think because the resignation was from my area, I think I should have been called like everybody else is called. But for some reason, I wasn't. I just think it's not right what you did. I know that the library director doesn't like me, but I could care less about her. And I'll tell you the truth, let their tax come on. I'll vote for Collins, but I just think it was a cheap shot and a setup.
Yeah, so Mr. Lorraine, to be honest, so I was engaged on this, and there's 3 applicants from 2 different districts. So the challenge was, there was 1 from Councilman Arabi's district and 2 from your district.
Right.
The challenge was, and I get the resignation, but I don't, and I kind of see where you're coming from on that, but the problem is, so you said it's stacked in Thibodeau, so if they resigned, would the Thibodeau person keep doing it? You stay in the same hole. So I don't think that you can hold that, but the problem here was it was 2 different districts, so we didn't want to make it seem like it was biased to let one person when it's from that district. Normally what happens, since I've been here for the last however many years, if there's an applicant from your district and that's the only applicant, then certainly you would sponsor
No,
it.
it don't work that way.
But here's from two different districts.
It don't work that way. They had an application from my district one time by himself. You know what y'all did? What you forget?
No,
Y'all extended the applications because you didn't want to put the guy that was very well qualified from my area to serve.
Which was a stacked board,
It's
from what I
stacked.
remember. No,
4.
this one you're talking about.
It's stacked now.
Yeah.
It's
But this one
stacked
is
now.
from your district.
No, I'm going to vote for him. I just think that I should have been called.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to say the board is stacked, whether you like it or not.
No, not me. I'm actually a lot on your side on this one, to believe it or not. You'd be surprised.
And by the way, the other applicant, Mr. Terrio, we just recently put him on the board last week. So
True, he was the only
rest my
applicant.
case. I'm going to
You're
vote for
correct.
Collins.
You're correct.
I have no
Okay.
idea who he is.
All right. Any further discussion? There being none, we'll move to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed 9 yeas, 0 nays. That brings us to item 25, resolution appointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 6 Board. Mr. Perk for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Perk?
We have one vacancy, 2 applicants. Reappoint Ms. Reagan Sampe.
Can I have a second for Ms. Sempe? Second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 26, resolution reappointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 7 Board. Mr. Melvin for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Melvin?
Dr. Paul Goday.
Mr. Gode, can I get a second for Mr. Gode? Second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 27, resolution reappointing one member to the Housing Authority of Lafourche Parish Board. Mr. Roderick for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Roderick?
One reappointment, Mr. Greg Johnson.
He moves for Mr. Greg Johnson, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 28, resolution reappointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 2 Board. Mr. Araby, can you nominate Mr. Dufresne on behalf of the administration, please? Mr. Araby nominates Mr. Dufresne. This is a reappointment. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Perk. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 29, resolution concurring with a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in the Bayou Blue Fire Protection District of the parishes of Terrebonne and Lafourche, State of Louisiana, to authorize the renewal and levy of a special tax therein, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Motion by Mr. Roderick, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? Chief, would you like to say anything? You're welcome to. He's good. All right, so we do have the chief in attendance. Thank you for attending tonight. If there's no discussion, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. I'm always honored to have a chief in my presence, so thank you, Chief Porks. Item L, override vetoed ordinance. Item 30, the following ordinance was vetoed by Parish President Chesson on October 15, 2024, and 6 votes are needed to override the veto. Ordinance number 6978. Ordinance to establish the placements of up to 4 garbage cans at all public boat launches in Lafourche Parish. Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Mr. Lorraine, I'm sorry. So, Mr. Lorraine, you do move on a motion to override the veto?
I do.
So move. Does someone want to second that? Second? Second by Mr. Araby. Discussion. So, Mr. Lorraine, you want to press your button? Go ahead, Mr. Lorraine. You have the floor first, sir.
Yes. 4 or 5 months ago, this issue came up. I went sit down in the president's office, talked to him about it, asked him real nicely to put back 2 garbage cans. The key to this is very simple. First of all, the garbage truck goes there, whether he picks up the garbage or he doesn't. He turns around there. He's got to pick up Ms. Bryant. Second of all, we just got $1.2 million from Cassidy, Senator Cassidy, put us a brand new pier, fixed us the kayak, got a brand new launch, and the parish can't put 2 garbage cans? Named the boat launch after Mr. Melisson, named it after John Boudreaux, the fishing pier. How do you think these families feel with all the trash on the ground? Just simply put in 2 cans. And what really ticked me off to do this, I'll be honest with you guys, is when Mr. Chasson said, we'll talk about it in 3 years. Now, that was a childish cheap shot, okay, in my book. That's what that was. And that's what really teed me off. We're growing men. And I thought I was doing something right, and I still think I'm doing something right by investing with all boat launches. You can go to Terrebonne Parish, you can go to St. Charles, you can go wherever the hell you want at boat launches, and there's garbage cans. And here we got $1.2 million from the federal government to fix our place, and they can't even put garbage cans. And you're paying more for garbage today and trash than you ever paid in your life, because you're still paying the 7/10, and you're paying an extra $16.50 on your water bill per water meter.
Mr. Lorraine, can I interrupt just for 1 second? So let the record reflect that Mr. Adams stepped out the chambers at 17:42 hours. Sorry, go ahead. Continue, Mr. Lorraine.
No, I'm done. That's it. I just going to tell you guys, whatever happens, happens, but vote your conscience. And you know who the thief was? That I had to call the garbage cans were stolen. The thief was the parish.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In Councilman Lorraine's words, let's tell us for what this really is, right? So historically, we have never had garbage cans at boat launches in Lafourche Parish. Why? Because exactly what happened in Leeville happens all over the parish, right? You get a busy weekend, the cans don't get dumped again until Monday, and you end up with trash everywhere, right? That's historically why we have always shied away from putting garbage cans there. Mr. Lorraine is angry because we put 2 out there, we proved that the process wasn't going to work, and we pulled them back, right? Whether he likes it or not, the process doesn't work. So until we come up with a process, which we are working on to figure out where to put them, what to put them on, what happens when we get garbage cans through a grant that the garbage trucks then can't pick up, so we can make the boat launches look a little bit nicer, since we are making all these improvements to things like Leeville and La Rose and Melodia and all these other places. But to tell me that I have to go, we wasted $300 at the end of the day, publishing an ordinance, printing all the paper, going through this veto process, to tell me I got to go put garbage cans somewhere? You want to talk about being grown men, Mr. Lorraine? that we told you from day one the process wasn't going to work, right? So let us work the process. Don't waste parish dollars and waste time to tell me I have to go put a garbage can somewhere, right? Just because there were no garbage cans anywhere else and you want them where you want them. That's what this boils down to at the end of the day, Mr. Chairman. So if you want to override the veto, more than happy. We'll get to them eventually. It's not going to be very high on my priority list until we figure out the path forward with River Birch, what happens when we get better garbage cans. But at some point, we're going to get there. I'm just telling you, we don't need a law to tell me to get there. We're working on it already.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Melvin?
Yes,
You have
real
the floor,
quick.
sir.
I mean, personally, I would, like the public to have a place to put their stuff. I get it. I've been boating and had stuff and didn't have anywhere to put it. So I understand the mantra and I support the effort. Who wants litter, right? To me, it's about litter, right? Even though we're having some sticky points here. It's my understanding that there may be an issue with this legally with the DA's office if it passes, that I was told that if it passes, we can't do what we're doing in this regard with trying to force this thing, and that's what I was told. But, I mean, I'm just going on record that I would like to see a can, even though you're going to have the 10, 15% who doesn't care, they're going to throw stuff on the ground, the same people that outlaw, the same people this, that. It's just, again, I would like to see a can, but if I'm told by legal that we can't do it, then I just found out this meeting that's my challenge with this, even though I'd like to vote for it because I want a can.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Mr. Lorraine's going to go a second time, so you're going to have to wait, Arabi and Perk. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
I just want to say that it's amazing how it was working when Charlotte Randolph was here. She was here for 12 years. We built the boat launch when she was there. Never had trouble with garbage cans. All of a sudden, we got trouble with garbage cans with Archie Chasson. And I went in his office 5 months ago, and Bo, for you, it might be legal, it might not. But how can you say something's legal or not legal when you don't even know? Let's go with the process. And if you want to send it to the DA, go ahead and send it. And then we're going to find out if it's legal or not legal. But all I can tell you is they're trying. All of a sudden, they're trying. And I sat there for 5 months, but Charlotte Randolph was here for 12 years, and for 4 years, we had garbage cans there. And remember, the truck goes there every time he passes. He goes there, and there's no can. They did that just to show me. That's the bottom line. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Arabi.
Mr. President, I've been hearing about this now, like Daniel said, about 5 months. Are y'all still doing a study? 5 months on some garbage cans?
I'll let him finish his question. Come to Mr. Perk, and then I'll let you answer,
And I'm
Mr.
just looking
President.
to see where we at with the study.
Thank you, Mr. Arabi. Hold on. Okay, Mr. Perk, you have the floor, sir.
My only question was, do we kind of have a time frame of when do you think we could have something in process and working? That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Perk. Mr. Chesson.
So it's not really a study, Terry. It's, it's very easy to say, go put out some garbage cans, right? Who's going to police the garbage cans? What happens when they get overfilled on a weekend? Who's going to pick that stuff up on Monday if it's by the garbage can? Because as we all very well know, it's a cart-only contract. So when the contractor gets there and picks it up, whatever's on the ground, he's not touching, right? It's beyond the garbage. It's, Councilman Otan has been on us for a while now to figure out a better way to maintain the boat launches. We only have 2 people in recreation. We've started this whole, the big part of this was getting Keep Lafourche Beautiful stood up, applying for some grants, getting some equipment. But who's going to cut the grass? Can the inmates do it? Is the litter bus going to pass? Like it sounds so easy to go, let's go put out some garbage cans. And look, guys, I could go put out 4 garbage cans at every boat launch tomorrow, right? But when Sunday comes around and there's junk everywhere, because as Bo mentioned, you're gonna have people litter. They're not gonna put it in their boat like a responsible boater should and just take it home and throw it away in the garbage can at your house. They're gonna throw it. It's gonna fly out their boat. It's gonna do whatever. And what's gonna happen? In 2 weeks from now, when we have a council meeting, 4 of y'all at least are gonna be screaming that the boat launches look pitiful, right? So again, I go back to what I said last week when the judge was here. We do stuff in Thibodaux, people in South Lafourche complain. We do stuff in South Lafourche, people in North Lafourche complain. Like, we're never going to move fast enough for the gentleman at the end. And I refuse to go just throw out some garbage cans for the sake of throwing out some garbage cans to make some people happy, and then it blow up in my face, and then I get reamed at a council meeting 2 weeks from now. So to Mr. Perk's point, we working with the Freshwater District and Friends of Lafourche to build basically some little platforms that'll hold the garbage cans. That way when the wind blows, we get a storm, they're not flying everywhere. Once those are completed and built, then we will start to disperse at least 2 cans at every boat launch. So I'm hopeful by Thanksgiving they should be out there. And then the second plan is to work with the sheriff's office and the litter bus and our own employees that if we're successful with this Keep Lafourche Beautiful grant, Keep Louisiana Beautiful grant, and we get the nice concrete decorative garbage cans, that somebody can go out to every launch every single week throughout the week and dump the garbage cans and pull the bags and replace them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Almost all national parks, you have a big thing that says what you take in, you take out. It's unfortunate it doesn't quite work that way here locally. Ms. Chasson, you have the floor, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Archie, who did you say was going to build the platforms?
The Freshwater District.
Freshwater
By
District.
Lafourche Freshwater District.
Okay.
So, I was about
What
to say, I thought
about
Terry stepped out.
the Career Magnet? I know they build things. You just give them the materials and they can build it. They can
Yep.
do it.
They would be another opportunity, that's right. Mr. Chesson.
Thank you. So Mitch is talking behind me that the Freshwater District puts up the funding for the materials and the Career Magnet School actually builds them.
Very good. So I just want to mention, in the vetoed information, one of the items that was mentioned was infringement on the executive branch. So I just want you to know that I did engage the district attorney's office, and it was an unwritten, just a verbal, that it is thought that this is an infringement on the executive branch. This would normally be done in a resolution, not by a law, and there really wouldn't be a penalty. So even if we make it a law, what's the penalty? So, and I kind of felt that, y'all remember I said that at the last meeting, that this is really an executive branch. This is not for legislators, in my opinion. So I just want you to know from the district attorney's office that they feel that this is an infringement on the executive branch. That this would be much better in a resolution. Same as when we request something from the state, the feds, you do it via resolution. So with that said, okay, Lorraine has a third follow-up. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I'll be short. I mean, first of all, tell me what's the difference of a councilman proposing an ordinance to put a no parking fire lane on the road, to put a no swimming from a parish bridge, no fishing from a parish? There's no difference. There's no difference at all. And look, this is a big, beautiful article that hit the Gazette. It says, Lafourche Parish joins the Keep Louisiana Beautiful Community Affiliate Network. Big story. Keep it beautiful. Make Lafourche beautiful. Evidently, they're talking to Trump. That's what it sounds like to me. And can't put 2 garbage cans? I was going to I was going to present a resolution. But a resolution is like putting it on a piece of paper and throwing it in a can. You can throw it in the can. A resolution is not force. A resolution is just a request. So they don't want to do it by ordinance. You think they want to do it by resolution? Hey, I wasn't born yesterday, no. And it was working when Randolph was here. Of course, when the young guy come here, he changes everything.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. With that said, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed say nay. Nay. All those that said aye, please raise your hand. So let the record reflect Mr. Lorraine, Mr. Araby, and Mr. Brumfield. So the motion fails with only 3 votes to override. It was required at 6. So the veto override it fails. Brings us to item M, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Managers' Reports, Presentations, and our updates. Item 31, Finance Representative to present the monthly financial report as required by the state agreed-upon procedures for August and September 2024. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You guys should have all gotten a copy of the financials for August and September, I think either yesterday or today in your email inbox.
Yes.
I think October is the month that Renita will do her presentation for the end of the quarter. So you guys will get the full-blown presentation next month. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Anyone have any question on the financials? That brings us to item N, questions for the administration. Did someone just step out? So Ms. Chesson stepped out at 17:54 hours. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
When can we see some garbage cans at the boat launches?
Administration does not wish to answer that.
I don't guess I'm getting an answer.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Perk, you have the floor, sir.
James, do you have that picture? I just want to show y'all something. You know, we talked about why we put up signs, no cast nets at launches. That's why, that's my boat at the launch, at the Melodia launch.
They're hard to get out
So,
to.
Mr. Daniel, thank you for, and so, of course, the parish don't own that launch, but we're going to work on getting a sign there, I can, trust me.
And I can tell you, those are not as bad as when you get a crab cage wrapped like that.
So anyway.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perk. So one question I have, and I don't know, Dylan, if you can answer or not. I was engaged by a resident in the municipality, and the Como Street drainage project that was discussed, and they made people tear down fences, and so I haven't heard any discussion of that in quite some time. I know North Lafourche Levy District, we look at, there was no money, state, yada, yada. Does anyone have any update on where that whole project stands? No clue? Okay. I will follow up with North Lafourche or the town. Appreciate it. So now Mr. Bo Melvin has stepped out at 17:55 hours. Brings us to item O, discussion. Item 32, discussions concerning Hamilton Street and East 40th Street. Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor. Press your button, sir.
Yes, this is very important. Let me find my.
Mr. Lynn has re-entered at 17:55.
First of all, I want to say that Hamilton Street in 1996 or 97, we paved that street right at $1 million. 10 or 12 years later, we repaved that street, close to another $1 million. Now you got people digging a pit back there. They have tore up that road. South Lafourche Levy District hauled dirt from there. North Lafourche Levy District hauled dirt from there. And the landowner, they should be responsible to fix back that street. And the same thing on East 40th. We finally paved that street. It's about 3 miles long. And you got the guy sold the property to a private landowner. He's planting sugarcane. He's doing everything you want to name. And he is tearing it up. You ain't got enough money in this parish to fix Hamilton and East 40th. It should be the ones that are breaking it and tearing it. Because I could remember when I was first a councilman, we had all companies that couldn't afford to come up with a bond. So I was the one that put together a certificate of insurance up to $1 million to whatever. So whatever's destroyed, I think it's them that has to pay for it. Don't come in road sales tax 2 to pay for that. No, that is baloney. And there are other places in this parish that they're digging some pits real bad and tearing up some streets. It's time that we do what we need to do and do it right. You know, we need to protect levees. We need dirt for levees, but don't go and destroy. Not one of y'all was here in 1996 and 97 when we did that. Oh, Terry was working for the parish.
I was born.
You might have been born, but you wasn't here.
Oh.
And we did it. You were here when we did it the second time, okay? And I just think it's unfair that we're going to let them people, the contractors, the levy districts, and the ones that's doing it, get away with it. That's not right, and it's not fair.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine, and couldn't agree with you more. And Dylan and I just had this discussion this past week. Mr. Chesson, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I can show you probably, I don't know, 4 dozen emails between Dylan, the North Lafourche Levy District, South Lafourche Levy District, me, Mitch, putting them on notice every time that we get a complaint that the road needs to be patched, every time that a constituent calls and said there's an open pothole. The last email back and forth, I guess, was last week. Again, asking them when the expected date of the stop haul was, and then what their plan was to fix it. So the initial discussion I had with Mr. Mathern over at South Lafourche was that they were going to use the quantities and the numbers from our maintenance contract. They were going to piggyback off of it, and that Mr. Angelette was going to come up with a project to actually patch what needed to be patched and then mill and overlay the street. Look, for once, Mr. Lorraine, you and I are going to agree that I know it's shocking. It happens every now and then. That we are not going to let them get away with running all those dump trucks in and out the street and not fix it, right? Especially since the majority of the dirt, if not all of it, is going to road sales tax district 2 and the South Lafourche levy district. So we're gonna keep I get a monthly text message from one of the residents back there asking for an update. And then look, it's gonna continue, but we have to find a better balance. I think, as the levy district run out of, side borrow material and we get more dirt pits in the parish, we've begun some conversation with the levy districts about a new ordinance about borrow pits, where they can be located. Because Terrebonne did that several years ago. They basically said, look, if you have a big open pasture and you want to make some money, we'll go out and test the soil. If it meets the criteria, then we'll put you on a list. And then when a contractor bids a job, you can go to any one of those particular pits you want and buy your dirt if it's cheaper. And I think as that the levies continue to grow, we're going to see that happen. So we're beginning those discussions. The mock ordinance is on my desk that Nick marked up for me based on original one we had proposed back in, I think, in 2012 or 2013 that didn't go anywhere. But we're going to revisit that as well and probably put something in there about parish roads and the upkeep of them should those pits begin to come to fruition. So we're working on it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I can definitely concur that the administration is frustrated with this issue as well. And it's not just the bridges. I mean, it's not just the roads, but it's also the bridges impacted, not only on the front side, which you're referencing, but on the back side of where they're ending up at. So it's a mess. I would agree also. Secondary control touchscreen, not sure who that is. So okay. So you waiting to talk or no? Okay. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that I didn't say nothing about the administration not trying to keep up with it. I think they did because, listen, I don't even live near there, and I got all kind of complaints. And they would try to get it fixed to where I got a guy that I used to work with that lives back there. And guess who he calls me? He don't just call me, he probably calls everybody he can. It got terrible one. And I'm not denying that the administration didn't try. But I want to do more than try. I want to make them pay for it. I just don't want to see road sales tax 2 paying to fix this. They need to do it.
Any further discussion? There being none, we bring it to item P, adjournment. I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Perk, second by Mr. Melvin, that there be no further business of the Lafourche Parish Council. Regular meeting of October 22nd, 2024 will be adjourned at 18:02 hours. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes by a vote of 8 yeas, 0 nays, and one person that has left the chambers, that being Mr. Adams. No, where it shows up for me, I gotta show that as a discussion. Somebody, so with the administration,
I was showing
when you
it.
did that, it put you on the list. That's why you talk.
I supported you on that.
Just press it again. Yeah.
I supported you on that.
No, I'm saying, though, it pops up on me as somebody that's wanting to talk.